The Watchman's Midnight Encounter, a creepy tale from the cemetery. Hello, everyone. My name is Semyon, and I'd like to tell you a story. It happened to me last spring near Pripyat. I was 26 years old at the time and had started working as a guard at a cemetery. The cemetery was large, and I would occasionally walk around at night to chase away any Satanists or cultists. However, I never encountered anyone on that cemetery at night. Yes, it was a little creepy at times, but it didn't affect me much. Before I started working there, I was told that a few times someone had been digging up graves and pulling out coffins. Some lunatics were pulling corpses out of graves, and it was found that someone had been tearing and cutting pieces from the bodies. One time, I was sipping tequila from a small flask, turning on my flashlight and walking through the cemetery. The night was moonless, and the sky had no stars. Only dark clouds floated across the already dark sky. Not a soul, except for me. The town was about a kilometer away. I was a little uneasy about it all, but I took a generous gulp of tequila, turned on some cheerful music at a low volume, and began walking along the paths between the trees, crosses, and gravestones. Everything was quiet. I kept walking when suddenly I heard someone. Seemed like they were talking. Male voices. Oh, probably some hooligans, still acting like kids. I boldly headed in the direction of the voices. Besides my folding knife, I also had a traumatic pistol with me. If they try anything aggressive, I was ready to shoot them in the leg. I've never liked goths or those weirdly dressed freaks, as I come from a religious family. All their ridiculous gatherings on the bones of other people seemed like idiocy to me. I approached a tall and wide tree. Hiding behind it, I cautiously peeked out. I saw 4 people standing there, adult guys and girls. One pair looked like goths. They were all in black. The others were strange too. The guy had long blonde hair tied into a ponytail and wore a Thor's hammer around his neck and bracelets on his arms. The girl with him was dressed oddly, wearing a flower crown on her head. Vikings, damn it. There's no end to the freaks, I thought. On the ground, near a grave, they had set up a candle holder with candles and a bag with some squirming little animal inside. I needed to get rid of these uninvited weirdos. So, I stepped out from behind the tree and said sternly, "All right, folks, pack it up. No such gatherings here. Come on, get lost." "What's with the attitude, old man?" the goth began. "We're not doing anything wrong." "Listen, you idiot, don't argue," I raised my voice. "You shouldn't be here." "And why are you talking like that?" The goth got bolder, stepping toward me. Then the Viking came up to the goth, gently shoved him back and spoke to me. "Respectfully, why don't you leave, and we'll stay here quietly. We're not being loud." "What's in the bag?" I asked, noticing that something was wriggling inside. "What's it to you?" the Viking asked with a smirk. "What's in the bag?" I repeated. "A rooster," he replied. "All right, I got the answer. Now go." "You're the rooster, asshole," I swore back. The Viking seemed like he was about to swing at me, but I pulled out my traumatic pistol. At the sight of the weapon, all the weirdos flinched and backed off. I then said to the Viking, "Listen, Ragnar, I'm sending you to Valhalla, and your Valkyrie is going to cry for you for a long time. Pick up your stuff and get the hell out of here before I make you regret it." The 4 of them, without a word, picked up their things and quietly left. I made sure they left and walked away only when they were out of sight. "What idiots," I muttered. After checking the whole cemetery, I returned to my booth. Just as I was about to open the door, someone suddenly jumped on me, landing on my head. I felt claws sink into me. With a scream, I threw off the unknown creature. Looking down, I saw it was a fluffy, cute cat. Ugh, damn it, I cursed. You scared me, you little cat. The cat stared at me and suddenly meowed pitifully. I picked it up and went inside the booth. After tossing it a piece of sausage and naming it Pushok, I settled onto the old couch. The old TV didn't work, so I read books that my shift partner had left behind. I even dozed off for a while, but woke up in a panic from a loud crash. It was a thunderstorm. Damn it, are you kidding me? I muttered. However, overall, that night, like the next, passed without any unwanted guests or problems. It seemed like a normal job, I thought. I had 2 days off. When I returned to my shift, I asked my shift partner, "Did anything unusual happen while I was away, Grandpa Kolya?" "Yeah, of course. What's wrong? Didn't you have anything strange happen while I was gone?" Grandpa Kolya grunted. "Well, some strange freaks showed up here. I chased them away." Nice job, kiddo," Grandpa Kolya praised me. "They shouldn't be hanging around here. Anyway, take care, kid. Oh, and by the way, your cat's good." Whistling a tune, the always content Grandpa left, his bear-like gait calm and unhurried. My new shift began. After feeding the cat, I decided to do another round. The cat followed me. Its cheerfulness amused me, and it gave me a sense of energy. Suddenly, in the distance, I heard a strange sound, like a growl. I thought it might be some animal that had wandered in. The forest was far away, so a wolf or another beast coming here seemed unlikely. The cat suddenly turned toward the sound of the growl. It began to hiss, and its fur stood on end. Then it let out a loud screech and bolted off into the night. This worried me. Probably it was one of those idiots returning to pull some dumb prank again, I thought. I drew my traumatic pistol and headed toward the sound of the eerie growl. "Hey," I yelled. "You didn't get the message last time, huh? Get out of here, now!" A shadow flashed next to a tree. Then I saw a humanoid figure peeking from behind a large stone slab. It seemed that the strange figure had an unusually large head and long arms. It appeared to be naked. "Hey, get out of here!" I yelled. I turned on my flashlight, but the figure hid, and I heard it run away. It disappeared so quickly that I couldn't get a good look at it. "Damn idiots," I muttered quietly. I walked over to the stone slab where the figure had been hiding. It was untouched, and nearby was a fresh grave. I stood there for a minute and then left, but noticed that the cat had curled up in a corner of the booth, hissing and meowing loudly. It seemed like something was scaring it. I looked around the booth, but saw nothing, and felt nothing unusual. Returning to the booth, I sat down to rest. Nothing strange happened until the end of the shift. I shrugged it all off. Well, whatever. Not a big deal, I thought. For the next couple of days, everything was calm. But a week later, something very strange and frightening happened. That evening, I returned for my shift. Grandpa Kolya handed over the shift and said, "Kid, keep your eyes open. I heard strange noises last night." "What kind of noises?" I asked. It sounded like someone was scratching, scraping, and there was a voice, like a baby, but with a wheeze. At first, I thought Grandpa had just gotten tired. He's old, maybe he imagined it. But that night, something truly creepy began to happen. Pushok started acting strange, running from the window to the door, hissing, hiding under the table. And around 1 in the morning, I heard that familiar growl again. It was louder, as if it were coming closer. I grabbed my traumatic pistol, turned on my flashlight, and went outside. The air was thick, and the trees stood still, like they were dead. Not a single leaf moved. I walked along the path when suddenly, from behind a gravestone, the creature appeared again. It was tall, thin, with a huge, almost spherical head and glowing eyes. Its arms were long and ended in claws. It ran on all fours, but moved too quickly, almost silently. I shot at it, once, twice, but it didn't stop. It only sharply turned and disappeared among the gravestones. I ran back to the booth and slammed the door shut. The cat was sitting on the cupboard, staring out the window. It was shaking. I sat down in the chair, took a large gulp from the tequila bottle, and stayed awake until morning. No one came, no Grandpa Kolya, no creature. In the morning, the first thing I did was write my resignation letter. Since then, I haven't worked at cemeteries. Sometimes I dream of those eyes. Sometimes I feel like Pushok is still hissing at an empty corner. I don't know what that was. Maybe someone crawled out of an old grave, or maybe from another world. But I know one thing. Something roams the cemetery at night, and it's definitely not human.